Welcome back to my channel. I'm Joe, Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. On today's video, I've got a large catering gig that I've got to do, and I'm bringing you guys along. I'm going to show you everything, I mean everything, from start to finish. Stay tuned. You can see, look at this bark. It's crazy. Oh man, this is perfect. It helps to start with a nice sharp knife, okay? Oh my goodness. Look at that. All right, so let's get started on these 8 briskets that I've got to trim. Now, believe it or not, this trim is different than my trim if I was just to do a video and have a brisket for us, okay? Because I am loading my Frontiersman with 8 briskets. You got to make all of the briskets extremely aerodynamic so that they all get the same smoke treatment. So I'm going to show you that process, okay? So this is a different trim, maybe one that you guys haven't seen. It's close to my other trims, but I'm just going to go through the process here. So first things first is we want to start to take some of this fat off the top of the point. And, you know, just kind of glide your knife. I'm going to take some of this decal fat off. Okay. I'm going to go kind of fast because I've got 8 of these that I've got to do, okay? So just take some of this fat off. You don't want any divots like this one here. So I want this as smooth as possible. Okay, that looks good. Start trimming this point down. Again, keeping aerodynamics in mind. Just save some of this meat here. Okay, so I still have this divot here. There you go, that looks good. I'm just going to trim that down a little bit. I don't want any holes where water can settle because that will mess with your bark, okay? Okay. Get some of this. You put your hand on the bottom. You want to try to take the heavy fat off. I'm not worried about the silver skin, but this heavy fat, you want to take it off. Because again, that will mess with your bark. These are beautiful briskets. These are choice briskets, okay? So take some of this fat off. So you can see I'm going a lot faster than what I would normally do. But trust me, when you got this many briskets, you got to move kind of fast. You'll see this a lot, this type of trim, or these cooks in your barbecue restaurants because they're doing so many of them. Okay. And those briskets always look really, really good. And as I mentioned, I'm not going to hold any secrets on this cook. I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to give you the recipes to my spice blend as well. Okay, try to correct this slice here. I'm going to take a lot of that off anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. You'll see what I mean by that. Okay, so that looks good. Looks nice and aerodynamic. I don't want any points or any ridges that's going to block the smoke. Okay, so that's looking really good. If you notice, I didn't take this piece of fat off here because that's going to go away. Okay, here's my chef's knife. Actually, I'm going to use my boning knife still. I like to take the edges of the brisket off. And I'm going to come in this way and cut these corners off. Okay, kind of like this. Okay, so that's going to come off. So here we go. Yes, my knife is extremely sharp. Okay, come on this side. Okay, do it in one swoop there. Okay, now I will trim this fat off here. Okay, unfortunately, the butcher kind of dug into that brisket there, but I'm not too worried about that. We'll make that work. So see that? We got a nice kind of slope here. But if you notice, this brisket is still laying, it's not laying flat, okay? It's kind of got this hump right here, which is on the point. So we're gonna fix that. Just flip your brisket, okay? And the reason you have that is because of this huge fat cap here, okay? So a lot of this is gonna come off. I'm gonna fix this indentation here, okay? Again, we want this as smooth as possible. So just start to take some of the fat off. That's going in the trash. Got to lay this point down a little bit. And to fix this, well, you just got to cut it off. See that? Nice and aerodynamic. So some of these briskets, actually the first two closest to my firebox are going to be with a fat cap down. And the rest of my briskets are going to be with a fat cap up. Okay, trim this down a little bit more. Okay, that's looking good. Let's trim some of this fat off. Looking good. Okay. That looks really, really good there. Take a little bit more of this fat off. Okay, I'm liking that. Let's see how it sits. Okay, still a little high. Now you can cheat this, okay? Let me show you. So right here on this side, you have this huge piece of fat right here. Let me show you what I'm gonna do. Just take all of that fat off. Okay. Now you're gonna have to take some of this point off as well, so it sits nice and flat. But to do that, this fat here comes up a little bit more. So you just have to trim that down. Just a little bit more. Okay, so that is it. So again, when I'm smoking this many briskets, okay, this is the trim that I do right here. Okay, so it's laying flat. So again, as I mentioned, I'm gonna have to cook some up, or with the some of these briskets with a fat cap up, and some of these with a fat cap down. And if you notice that, that brisket is sitting pretty much flat. Okay, so I'm gonna get the other 7 done, and I'll bring you guys back. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got the briskets trimmed up, and you guys will not believe this. In the 8 briskets, there was a beef knuckle, and I had no idea that I had purchased a beef knuckle. It's a good thing that one of these briskets was for us, okay? So these briskets, they're going to some neighbors in my neighborhood, and I sold them at an extremely discounted price. So these are being delivered in my neighborhood. I lowered my price, so all of these briskets are for them. That beef knuckle, I've never smoked a beef knuckle. It looks like a brisket. I'll show it to you guys later once it's inside the smoker. I'm gonna trim it the same way. It looks just like a brisket, so I'll show you guys that here in a little bit. So I've got the briskets done. Now, I like to use olive oil, but because olive oil is a commodity right now, I'm gonna go with just a little bit of mustard, okay? And what this is gonna do, this is gonna grab a hold of that rub, and you will not be able to taste the mustard, okay? Just something to tacky to get the rub to stick to. Just like that. Okay. Now, the mixture that I'm using for my seasoning is 3 cups of black pepper. This is 16 mesh. I used 1.5 cups of kosher salt, 1/2 cup of garlic powder, granulated garlic, and then 1/2 cup of paprika. Okay, that is my seasoning whenever I do catering gigs like this. I'm not going to use my Victory Lane rubs or anything like that. So here we go. You'll see that it's really heavy on the pepper. Okay, see that? So like a Texas brisket, if you will. Real heavy on the pepper. Now, these briskets, I got to tell you that not one brisket is exactly the same. They're all different, man. It's kind of crazy. In fact, there was a few briskets like this bare spot right here. Obviously, I didn't do that. There was some bare spots on one of them that I was like, how in the world can a butcher do that? I mean, it's like the fat cap was almost gone off the brisket, the entire brisket. So, okay, go nice and heavy. Get the edges, pat it down. Let's do the point side of it. Now, once I finish seasoning all these briskets, they're going to be sitting in my counter for probably 40 minutes or so before I put them in the smoker. There we go. I'll see you guys outside and show you how I'm going to position these briskets on my smoker. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got the briskets loaded. I want to show you the setup on the right side. So there's that beef knuckle on the far back there. Again, does that not look like a brisket to you guys? I can't believe I actually purchased that thing, but heck, we'll eat it. It's a very lean piece of meat, so we'll see how it turns out. Now, obviously, this is a brisket right here, fat cap down. The reason this is fat cap down is because my firebox is right there to the immediate right. Now, this smoker does have tuning plates. I did take all of the tuning plates out. So what that means is the smoke's gonna come out and the heat's gonna come out of the firebox, hit these, fat cap down, come up, and then hit those 6 on the far left side that are with the fat cap up. So the smoke's gonna come up along with the heat and roll out the exhaust. So I'll show you the setup on the left side. Stay tuned. All right, so this is the left side door. And there you can see 3 briskets on the far left side, 3 more briskets, kind of middle left, if you will. And again, these are all fat cap up because that heat's gonna come up along with the smoke, hit the top. I wanna protect the meat, so it's gonna hit that fat cap and give it a nice bark. So again, 12, maybe 14-hour cook. We'll see you guys when I start to spritz the brisket, so stay tuned. All right, so 3 hours into the cook, I just rotated the briskets around. These 2 are the ones that were up front, fat cap down. They're still fat cap down. I think I'm gonna leave them like that. And I pulled the 2 that were up here on the left all the way up front. The one that was up here in the back, just moved them up and kept those 2 in the middle in the exact same position. So the bark is setting nicely. Again, 3.5 hours into the cook. I'm probably not going to spritz for another 2 hours. The bark is still building. So I'll bring you guys back at that point. Stay tuned. All right, so 9.5 hours into the cook, and that's what the briskets look like now. Really nice bark. I mean, just beautiful bark. Gonna get an internal temperature right here. 171. So it's perfect time for wrapping. I'm gonna wrap them all in butcher paper, put them back in, just kind of move them around again. And then we'll see you guys when I pull them off. Again, 9.5 hours into the cook.
and this color is absolutely amazing. Temps have been running about 225 and 250. Again, 9.5 hours in. We'll see you guys when they're done. Stay tuned.
All right, so the briskets are ready, and the total cook time was 14.5 hours, and they have been resting for at least an hour. I like to let my briskets rest for at least an hour. And this is the final product here. There's a lot of, and you can still see the steam coming off of it. It's been resting for quite a while. So just take it off the paper. Sometimes the paper will get stuck on the bottom, but that's okay. Okay. So just move this out of the way. And here's our brisket. Okay. It's got a really good bark to it. It smells good. Really juicy, as you can tell. So I'm going to show you what I do to package these briskets up, okay? So the number one thing is I'll slice it in half, separate the point from the flat. So just right down the middle. Let me show you guys this. Look at that. Look at how juicy that is. Okay. So then I will take the slices this way, okay, and then turn the point and cut the point this way. So let me cut this up, let me slice this up, box it up, and I'll bring you guys back. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got the brisket sliced up, and again, I took the flat and sliced it, pretty thin slices, and then the point. Let me show you guys this point, how ridiculous it looks. Look at that. Good smoke ring, okay? So what I like to do is some people will actually have me slice the point in half, like smaller slices, and some people want them whole, okay? I give the customers the option on whatever they want, okay? So I'll put the point in the tray just like that. I'm sorry, the flat. And then the point, because it is a lot juicier, okay, is just lay it over the top like this, okay? And those juices, that fat's gonna continue to fall down onto the flat itself. So there will be no taste test, okay, because these are for customers, obviously, okay? So we will not be tasting the brisket today, but this is exactly what I do, okay? Real simple. You can pick up all these little pieces, kind of put it in there as well. Okay, but that's it. I'll wrap this with foil, put it in my Cambro, and turn it into the customer. Hope you guys like this video. Again, this is what I do from start to finish. This is the end result. Again, 14.5 hours on my Yoder Frontiersman. It did a beautiful job on these briskets. So thanks for watching. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, Joe at Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. See ya.